listening to you. Yes. So you begin to weigh between the challenges he as a government is facing. I'll tell you the truth. Most young people are agitating about this protest because they have not cared to relatively, they've looked at the negative, the hunger side. That's correct. But they've not looked at the things that the government has been putting in place to ensure that what they are doing is not short term, is not middle term, but a long term situation that takes Nigeria out of a third world country to a first world country. And it takes time. And that is why I feel the government has been telling you, please be patient. We are doing something. So it's about responsiveness, first of all. It's about having a responsive government that is listening to you, that is showing signs that they want to do what you are telling them to do. Even if it is not there yet, we are trying. We will do it. Give us some time. That is the basic idea now. Now, quickly, let me answer your second part of that question before it quickly fades off my mind. You asked a question pertaining to what young people can do. I think I'll speak categorically around Benue State, and then if it's something that can be replicated elsewhere. Here in Benue State, we have a very beautiful structure, and the governor came, he transformed the Ministry of Youth to Youth and Creativity.
Yeah.
You understand? That is one. Secondly, I also mentioned something about the Benue Youth Commission. In fact, that is one advantage that young people now have, but I would have felt that if we have agitations, this would have been our agitations to ensure that institutions like this are standing so that we can leverage the opportunity of the African Youth Charter through what we call the Strategic Technical Committee for Youth, Culture and Sports under the African Union. I think there are so many advantages that we can benefit from some of these things. But first of all, do we have an organized youth structure that can make demands for some of these things? Not yet. But I'll still tell you, Nigeria has ratified the African Youth Charter, which means that as a country, we have liberty to form associations, youth groups, which is what we have today. And I'll give you a couple of examples. There's what we call the National Youth Council of Nigeria. There's what we call the Nigerian Youth Organization. Here in Benue, we have, let's do with students, Nubes, we have Mutuk, we have Mutak, we have association, Benue Youth Association, so many of them. But is there an organized structure for these things? There's none, first of all. Now, do we even have a database to show that we have an embodied youth group that can be monitored, that can be worked with as a team? I think this should be our focus. We need to go back to the drawing board as young people and ensure that we are, first of all, our house is organized. You understand? Then we can be able to make demands. And I will buttress this so that somebody else who is listening to me and probably does not understand where I'm coming from will hear me very well. We have in northern Nigeria, we have what we call the Northern Governors Forum. It covers 19 states. We have Ariwa Youth Group, we have Northern Youth Forum. I want to categorically tell you that I've never seen a TIV young person in any of those youth groups. Yet they categorize us as part of the 19 of the youth. Who's representing us there? But anything they say binds on us. Anything Ariwa says is Northern Youth.
Yeah.
Anything Northern Youth Group, it binds on us. But are we even represented in these discourses? Not at all. But they are leveraging on our population as well. So for me, it is what young people can do is to go back to the drawing board and reorganize ourselves into clusters, into whatever groups that we have. I will give the government the responsibility of having an official database through the whatever, maybe Youth Commission, Youth Ministry of Youth and Sports, of all the youths within different clusters, down to what levels. Let's know who is who. Let's know who are the people perpetrating crimes around. You understand?
Yes.
And that goes back to marry to what I was telling you about building strong institutions within our systems, which has been the bane of our development.
Okay. All right. So okay. Let's. Right now, I want him to add to what he has said. He has talked about the fact that we need to have structures in place as young persons to be able to make demands. So right now, I want you, apart from what he has mentioned, I want you to add what other ways can young persons, contribute to this protest.
Yes, in fact, it is the youths are critical in this protest. We can see a lot of example, particularly the End SARS protest, which was largely a youth-based movement.
That's correct.
And generally, the youths are leaders of tomorrow. They are the watchdogs of our economy or our nation. So they have a very critical role to play, and it is a basic role for every youth in this country to set the government on their toes, to ensure that the government is living up to expectation. And any youth that is not doing that, I think is a lazy youth, in quote.
Okay, all right. Okay, right now we are due for a break, and this discussion is just getting started. I feel it's getting heated, but let's just go on a very short break, and when we return, the discussion will continue. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is still your time on Benue Television. My name is Dorcas Chia. We are still discussing the nationwide protest, and joining us now is another young person. I don't want to call him youth leader though, but his name is Steve Aho, and he also is going to be joining us in this conversation right now, and he will be giving us his own take about the protest that is ongoing. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for always accepting our invitation.
Thank you.
Okay, so so far we have discussed the protest so far and the roles young persons have to play. So still on the issue, I want you to give us your own take. He has mentioned the issue of having a structure, organizing our house. I want you also to give us your own pointer, the role young persons have to play when it comes to this protest.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you especially for the opportunity to be on the program again. I don't take it lightly anytime there is an opportunity to talk and engage with my fellow young people. I think first of all, I want to say I'm very happy with what is happening in the country. I'm very happy with what is happening in the country. I'm happy because society is always evolving. And if society is evolving, it's also expected that those who are the citizens, those who own the society, should also be at the forefront of shaping society into what they want. Having said that, I'm happy today because Benue youths, Nigerian youths, are coming out once again to say this is what we want. We want a better deal. You're doing well, but we want better. Good. You know, if you look at, like my legal gentleman said, the Constitution, Section 40, and going forward, has already cited that Nigerians can group, can rally, can protest if they so want.
That's correct.
What we are concerned about, or what the government is concerned about, if I get this correctly, is let this protest not degenerate into violence. Let it not be an opportunity for those who are looking for loopholes, those who are politically minded, to seize the opportunity and wreak havoc on the gains that have been made so far. Having said that, I think if you're in the country and you see what is happening, there's hardship in the land. Fuel has gone up from what it was before to about 600 or 700, depending on where you're buying. Food prices have gone up. Education, the cost of education has gone up a notch since this government came into place. And of course, everything is moving forward. Education is not cheap. So I'm not saying people should be educated for free. The government has responded by offering loans, student loans. If you ask me, it is good to give options. But is that the only thing you can do? Can we come up with grants too? We're talking about corruption. People are complaining about the cost of governance and all that. The other day you heard about 150 billion naira being earmarked for a new presidential jet. You hear about 13.5 billion naira for renovation of the presidential quarters or house. You hear about another 7.3 billion for what is that for? Okay, I think I will get to remember with time. But when you begin to hear these figures in a country where people are struggling to survive, we are in Benue, and between me and you, with 1,000 naira, how many tubers of yam you can buy before now. Now with 1,000 naira, you're struggling to get one tuber of yam. That is not even enough. Before now, with my 500 naira, I'm moving to the next mama put there, and I'm done. If I'm not looking for status, I move there and I get myself filled up. Today, you can't even go with 500 and get something to eat. What that means is that the cost of living, the cost of livelihood is getting higher and higher. And what is really happening? The good thing is this protest is not local to Benue.
Yes.
It is a nationwide protest. If you look at the demands at the center, they are directing it to the federal government. In the state here, if you ask me, the governor is doing amazingly well. Even the man on the street will tell you that the governor is doing amazingly well. In the wake of this protest, he has also reached out, called groups together, held meetings and all of that. And Benue youth, depending on the Benue youth that is talking, some groups of Benue youth are saying we will not protest. Our governor is doing well, we will not protest. Good. What is happening in Lagos State? What is happening in Borno State? What is happening in Kaduna State? Are the governors there engaging with young people to talk to? If you look at the scope of this protest, it is national. And to that extent, I feel we should talk. We have a better deal. Let's ask for more. We are modeling society. We are trying to build something well. And I think when you spoke, you were saying in other places people are grouping. Arewa Consultative Forum, you're having many national youth movements or national movements. Benue people are not being part of. Benue youths are not being part of, which means they are staying back and allowing other people to make decisions that border on them. If you ask me, those are traditional institutions, those are traditional ways of grouping, and it is welcome. In a society you have multi-dimensional mix. It's a mix. There's a dynamics. There are those who will go to very organized setups to collectively work for their interests and all that. There are those who will stay back and use their informal channels. These days you have social media. Before we heard about this protest, it was all over. We didn't even know where it started. We don't know where it's gone. We're talking about a society now that is ruled by, you heard about crypto, we know about crypto. It is decentralized. You can't hold one person. We're talking about the system. The world is moving towards people operating, not having one government, one central control. If you look at this protest, if you come to Benue, you ask, who are the people leading the protest? You may not really get to know. If you go to Kaduna, you may not really know. It is not really faceless, but it means where these people are engaging, they are engaging at another level, at different other channels. So it's not as if they are not meeting, but they are meeting in their informal ways. They can be in their homes and be meeting, doing meetings and all of that. Society should move to that. If the youth, and the country is heading, we're heading towards handing over to youth. Youth are getting into elective positions. They are getting into places where they can talk on what they want. Now I feel government can also move with them. The good thing about this, our president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, that I like is that he has been a pro-democracy activist, true and true. Occupy Nigeria
in January 2012, thereabout, he was there. It is only in NSAS, during NSAS, that you didn't see him, which was in 2020. Well, it was because it was all, it was rallied by youth, young people and all of that. If he has the opportunity, I know he will be there. It simply means we have a president who knows about grouping, who knows about rally, who knows about protest, which explains why, in the wake of the whole thing, he has not slept too. He may not yet be hitting, the ball on the head, but he is also not sleeping. You have heard minimum wage 70,000. Immediately it has gone there. You hear about student loans. Let me even go student loans. You hear them talking about
Youth Investment Fund.
Yes, you hear them saying they have started disbursing. You hear about Nigerian Youth Investment Fund now, about how many million that young people should come out. Suddenly it has come up. Young people should go up and apply. You hear about NG Cares. The other day, last week, I was with somebody, and before you know, he got an alert for 150,000. That's how different pockets of people are getting those interventions. The thing is, he needs to go back to the drawing table, engage those who want to protest, not fight them. If people are protesting, let them protest. Guarantee their right to protest, but also find an engagement. If in Benue, the governor said, it's a town hall, let's hold the town hall, let's talk. What stops you? At Eagle Square, you can even declare, I am going to be there at Eagle Square. You guys should come, let's talk. There are those who are counter-protesters today. They are lined up there. He's trying to tell you that he's also a politician. So if you guys want to protest, I know about protest too. So people are also protesting. I will meet you at a point of engagement. So those guys are coming, these other guys are coming. But who are we talking to? Nigerian youth are saying, we want a better deal. We want something better from our federal government. We know you are trying, but we want better. If in the course of this protest, he feels the need, I know, and he's a listening president, let him come to the table. Nobody will harm him. Nobody will shoot him. Sometimes when you talk to people who are aggrieved and you give them, your presence, seeing you, it will diffuse the tension, and you see that maybe you open another vista of engagement. So I believe that is where we are.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Now away from the protest, I want us to talk about nation building. Yes, aside from young persons going out to protest, what other ways can their voices be heard? What can they do aside waiting to come out to protest? Other things they can do in order to build a nation, because people say we are leaders of tomorrow. It's beginning to seem like it's scam to us, but it's actually true, because at a point in time in the next few years, it's we that young right now that are going to be in those positions. So what can we do at this moment to make the nation better, instead of just thinking to come out to protest? Because most times these protests don't end well. Lives are lost and it causes a lot of destruction.
Okay, I think for me, first of all, participation, communication. If you want something good for yourself, first of all, you must communicate it. So let's become more active. Let young people become more active. Talk, communicate, and that is what is happening now. If you're giving me a deal that I don't like, how do I respond? If you're the one with the power and I don't yet have power, first of all, you communicate. Then as you're communicating, you're also gathering opinion, you're mobilizing people of like ideas and telling yourselves, we need to get into positions that we can effect the change that we want. Local government elections are coming up in Benue. They're talking about elections. More young people should come up. We don't want what we are getting. Come up. Get into position. Public opinion is good. You mold public opinion, you set agenda, you talk until it becomes the agenda, which is what is happening. People are beginning to know now that there's hardship in the land. People were knowing quietly in their homes, they were suffering, they were not really, but they have taken a step forward. See, you don't do. Know that this is what is happening, just in case you are not knowing. So I believe young people are on the right track. As long as it doesn't degenerate to violence, it is good.
Okay, I see you're itching to say something. And while you add to what he has said, I want you to talk on the issue of unemployment, because it's another thing that is eating eating the societies, eating the young persons. It's even making one of the things that is even making them angry, the issue of unemployment in the country. I want you to talk about it.
Yes. Thank you very much for that question. But let me quickly buttress what he said. See, you asked about what young people can do, and he said participation and communication, which is very important, which is very good. Let me buttress that point very quickly by giving you a quick example. Recently, there was a NATO event. I can't remember where, but there was a NATO event recently, last week, if I'm not mistaken, and there were young people, TikTokers, social media commenters. They were invited. They were just invited based on the fact that they had followers following them based on what they did,
Yes.
and they were identified and they were invited. The reason why I brought up this is to show you that we are already on the right track, just like he said. We are doing it right. It mustn't even be about the physical protest, but one of such examples is Dylan. Dylan is a TikToker. He gives you accurate information of exactly what is happening across the world at time. So he was invited. Even at the event, he was told to do a video of the event and tell the world what he has seen around there. So for you to be identified out of nothing, it means you are already doing something right. So we can continue in these different areas that we're doing. Social media, like we all mentioned, is also a platform that we can agitate. Somebody can be out there just snapping the most dangerous potholes in Benue State, for example. You are doing something, you are making so much impact more than you know. So that's also a means of protest, just to avoid the aspect that later turns violent, just like he rightly said and you equally buttressed. Now, on the issue of unemployment, that issue is an issue that
Because that's one of the main issues, because we have a lot of young persons out on the streets there. They graduated with good grades.
I want to agree with you, and
Yes,
I want to agree with you.
and yes, we still clamor for entrepreneurship and everything, but you can't lie, these two things go hand in hand.
Now this is where the problem lies. We didn't actually estimate carefully the rate of our population growth, and then it is hitting on us so hard right now. We have young people in different areas that are qualified for different jobs, but where are the jobs? So when you find yourself in a situation like this, how do you solve this problem? This is where value reorientation comes in for me. You go back to hunt talents. You go back to hunt potentials of these young people, knowing fully well that no matter the number of jobs you create, they may not be enough. Look at the music industry in our community, for example. We can raise so many millionaires from there who don't have to go to the office 6 to 5 every day. Employment is not about 6 to 9 to 5 p.m. every day. Employment is about economic freedom for me. So we can get musicians who are getting economic freedom. We can even get farmers. The African Continental Free Trade incidentally has even opened opportunities, beautiful opportunities that we can tap into. For example, look at our local farmers here. Do you know we can export them and they will be well paid? Look, the ones that carry hoe and turn like this and turn like this, we can export them to take that culture of agriculture to another part of Africa, where they will be well paid and gain good economic freedom. So it is time for us to begin to tap into the advantages that abound within us to solve the issue of unemployment. We have so many potentials around sports. We have so many potentials about creativity, under creativity. We have so many potentials in different areas. And then lastly, we must begin to critically harness our resources as well. Agriculture is one area, but when we talk about agriculture, people want to sound sophisticated. It's not about sophisticated. As I am sitting here with you in a small environment, I can grow 100 farmers so easily, very small. It's not magic. You understand? We need to begin to have the people with the right know-how in areas of decision making. Let them think outside the box. It's not about government this, government that. Think outside the box. Let's create something. We talk about food basket, we talk about that. The simplest innovation in agriculture, for example, we've not adopted it. Irrigation. That's the easiest technology in we've not even adopted it to start doing at our very niche. So how can we even have microclimates? So for me, the issue of unemployment is really entangled, that we need to really go back to the drawing board and look for how we can harness all the potentials, opportunities and privileges that we have within us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Stephen. Sadly, our time is already up and we have to move. I wish there was more time. There was more time for us to discuss the really broad. Yes, but I'm glad you are here. I'm glad we're able to discuss this. Thank you once again. Thank you. And I hope you've listened out there and you have gotten something from what we have discussed today. So as we go there, let's try to stay safe and let us look for ways in which we could better ourselves and make this nation and our state better. So till I come your way next time with another episode of You Time, this is not goodbye, but till next week. Stay tuned and have a lovely day.